Lesson number 1. The Fir Tree. Out in the woods stood a nice little fir tree. The place he had was a very good one. The sun shone on him as to fresh air. There was enough of that, and round him grew many large-sized comrades, pines as well as firs. But the little fir wanted so very much to be a grown-up tree. His prayers were soon answered, and he grew into a tall and magnificent tree. In autumn, the woodcutters always came and felled some of the largest trees. This happened every year, and the young fir tree that had now grown trembled at the sight. The cut trees were laid in carts, and horses dragged them out of the wood. Where did they go to? What became of them? In spring, when the swallows and the storks came, the tree asked them, "Don't you know where they have been taken? Have you not met them anywhere?" The stork looked musing, nodded his head and said, "Yes, I think I know. I met many ships as I was flying here from Egypt. On the ships were magnificent masts and they smelt of fir. When Christmas came, quite a number of young trees were cut down. These young trees were laid on carts and the horses drew them out of the wood. Where are they going to?" asked the fir. "We know," chirped the sparrows. "We have peeped in at the windows in the town below. The greatest magnificence one can imagine awaits them. We saw them planted in the middle of the warm room and decorated with the most beautiful things, with golden apples, with gingerbread, with toys, and many hundred lights." "And then?" asked the fir tree. "What happens then?" "We did not see anything more. It was beautiful." "That is still better than to cross the sea," cried the tree, rejoicing. "When will Christmas come? I am now tall, and my branches spread like the others that were carried off last year." "Rejoice in our presence," said the air and the sunlight. But the tree did not rejoice at all. He grew and was green both winter and summer. He was the first tree to be cut down for Christmas. He fell to the earth with a sigh. He felt a sharp pain. He could not think of happiness, for he was sorrowful at being separated from his home. The tree was unloaded in a courtyard and carried into a large drawing room. The servants, as well as the young ladies, decorated it. On one branch there hung little nets cut out of colored paper, and each net was filled with sugar plums. Among the other boughs, gilded apples and walnuts were hung. Little blue and white tapers were placed among the leaves. At the very top, a large red star was fixed. It was really splendid. "This evening," they all said. "How it will shine this evening!" "Oh," thought the tree, "perhaps in the evening the other trees from the forest will come to look at me. I wonder if I shall take root here, and winter and summer stand covered with ornaments." In the evening the candles were lighted in every bough. What brightness! The tree trembled, so one of the tapers set fire to the foliage. It started burning. "Help! Help!" cried the young ladies, and they quickly put out the fire. Now the tree did not even dare tremble. What a state he was in! He was so uneasy. Suddenly both the doors opened and a troop of children rushed in. They danced round the tree, and one present after the other was pulled off. "What are they about?" thought the tree. "What is to happen now?" And the lights burned down to the very branches, and as they burned down, they were put out one after the other. Children fell upon it with such violence that all its branches cracked. The children danced about with their beautiful playthings. No one looked at the tree except the old nurse, who peeped between the branches. But it was only to see if there was a fig or an apple left that had been forgotten. A story, cried the children, drawing a little fat man towards the tree. He seated himself under it and said, "Now we are in the shade, and the tree can listen too." But I shall tell only one story. Now, which will you have? That about Ivdy Avdy or about Humby Dumby, who tumbled downstairs and yet after all came to the throne and married the princess? Humby Dumby fell downstairs and yet he married the princess. Yes, yes, that is the way of the world, thought the fir tree and believed it. Well, well, who knows, perhaps I may fall downstairs too and get a princess as wife. In the morning, the servants and the housemaid came in. They dragged him out of the room and up the stairs into the loft. And here in a dark corner where no daylight could enter, they left him. What's the meaning of this? Thought the tree. What am I to do here? He leaned against the wall, lost in thoughts. Days and nights passed on, and nobody came up. And when at last somebody did come, it was only to put some great trunks in a corner, out of the way. There stood the tree quite hidden, entirely forgotten. Squeak, squeak, said a little mouse, at the same moment peeping out of his hole. And then another little one came. They smelled the fir tree and rustled among the branches. It is dreadfully cold, said the mouse, but for that it would be delightful here, old fir, wouldn't it? I am by no means old, said the fir tree. Where do you come from? Asked the mice. Tell us about the most beautiful spot on the earth. I only know the wood, where the sun shines and where the little birds sing. And then he told all about his youth, and the little mice had never heard the like before. And they listened and said, how much you have seen! How happy you must have been! Yes, those were happy times. And then he told about Christmas Eve when he was decked out with cakes and candles. Oh, said the little mice, how fortunate you have been, old fir tree. I am by no means old, said he. I came from the wood this winter. I am quite young. They may still come. Humby Dumby fell downstairs, and yet he got a princess. Who is Humby Dumby? Asked the mice. So then the fir tree told the whole fairy tale. Next night, two more mice came to listen to his stories, but they did not find them too interesting. Do you know only one story? Asked the mice. Only that one, answered the tree. It is a very stupid story. Can you tell any other stories? No, said the tree. Then goodbye, said the mice, and they went home. The tree was lonely again. One morning, some people came and set to work in the loft. The trunks were moved. The tree was pulled out and thrown towards the stairs where the daylight shone. Now a merry life will begin again, thought the tree. He felt the fresh air, the first. Now then I shall really enjoy life. But alas, his leaves were all dry and yellow. In the courtyard, some of the children were playing who had danced at Christmas round the fir tree. They were glad at the sight of him. One of them ran and tore off the red star. Only look what is still on the ugly old Christmas tree, said he, trampling on the branches. The tree was sad. It's over, it's past, said the poor tree. I should have rejoiced when I had reason to do so. Now it's past. Written by Hans Christian Andersen. Narration of the Fir Tree. It is written from the point of view of a fir tree that aspires to be taken home by people and decorated for a Christmas celebration. Finally, he gets his chance and experiences the happiest 2 days of his life as he watches the family open gifts, laugh, and sing. Anderson's tale teaches a lesson about how we look at the world. Instead of looking at the negatives, we should look for the positives all around us. The fir tree wanted so much to be taller that it couldn't enjoy the warm sunshine, the birds, or the rosy clouds that floated over it morning and evening. Kannada translation has given below. New words and meaning. Fir tree, an evergreen tree with upright cones. Comrades, a colleague or a fellow member. Magnificent, extremely beautiful. Trembled, shook with fear. Dragged, forcefully pull. Swallows, one kind of bird. Musing, thinking. Chirp, make a short, sharp, high-pitched sound. Imagine, visualize. Mast, a tall, upright post of ship. Rejoicing, filled with joy. Sigh, deep, audible breath expressing sadness. Sorrowful, sad. Courtyard, an unroofed area. Boughs, a main branch of a tree. Tapers, thin candles. Splendid, very impressive. Take root here, start growing here. Foliage, all the leaves collectively. Violence, damage, behavior involving physical force intended to hurt. Cracked, damaged and showing lines on the surface. Peep, look quickly, especially through a narrow opening. Tumbled, having fallen or collapsed. Dreadfully, extremely. Decked out, decorated. Loft, a room for storage. Trembling, stepping on and crushing something with feet. Answer these questions. What happened to the trees that were cut in the autumn by the woodcutters? Answer. The trees that were cut in the autumn by the woodcutters used to make masts of the ship. Second one. What magnificence did the sparrows tell the fir tree about? Answer. Sparrow told the little fir tree the greatest magnificence one can imagine awaits the cut fir trees. They saw them planted the middle of the warm room and decorated with the most beautiful things, with the golden apples, with the gingerbread, with the toys and many hundred lights. Third one, how did the fir tree feel when it was cut? Answer, the little fir tree felt a sharp pain. He could not think about the happiness, for he was sorrowful at being separated from his home. Fourth one, where was the fir tree taken after it was cut? What were its thoughts on reaching there? Answer, the little fir tree was unloaded in a courtyard and carried into a large drawing room. After reaching there, the fir tree thought perhaps in the evening the other trees from the forest will come to look at me. I wonder if I shall take root here, and winter and summer stand covered with ornaments. Fifth one, what happened when the troop of children rushed in? Answer, the children rushed and they danced around the tree, and one present after the other was pulled off. Sixth one, how did the fir tree feel in the loft? Answer, in loft, the fir tree felt loneliness and he leaned against the wall lost in thoughts. Seventh one, what did the fir tree tell about the most beautiful spot on the earth? Answer, the fir tree told the mice the most beautiful spot on the earth in the woods, where the sun shines and where the little birds sing. Explain these lines with reference to the context. First one, we have peeped in at the windows in the town below. The greatest magnificence one can imagine awaits them. First question, who said these words and to whom? Answer, the sparrows told to the fir tree. Second one, who are being referred to as them? Answer, the cut fir trees are referred to as them. Third one, how does the speaker describe them? Answer, the speaker describes them the greatest magnificence one can imagine. Second one, it is a very stupid story. Can you tell any other stories? First question, who said these words and to whom? Answer, the mice told these words to the fir tree. Second one, why did they find the story stupid? Answer, because they already heard the same story. Third one, what kind of stories did they want to listen to? Answer, they like to listen to new and interesting stories. Third one, I should have rejoiced when I had reason to do so. Now it's past. First question, when does the speaker say these lines? Answer, the speaker told these lines end of the life of the fir tree. Second one, why do you think is the listener repenting? Answer, because he did not think of the warm sun and of the fresh air where the little birds sing. Third one, what lesson do you learn from this story? Answer, the fir tree teaches an important lesson about appreciating what we have in the present time rather than focusing on what we don't have or impatiently waiting for the future. Join the adjectives in column A to the nouns in the column B to make the right adjective noun collocations. Column A, heavy, strong, wonderful, high, deep, faint, low. Column B, speed, trouble, possibility, rain, pressure, smell, times. Answers, heavy rain, strong possibility, wonderful times, high speed, deep trouble, faint smell, low pressure.